Welcome to the interview. I'm Andrew Damelin, where we are back at Raptors 905 practice, and we are speaking with someone where if you need a bucket, this is who you go to. His name is Kevon Harris. Kevon, how are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. No, thank you for doing this. The first question I like to ask for newcomers to the 905, and you're actually one of the older guys at 24 years old, but going back to Ellenwood, Georgia, what is kind of the first vivid basketball memory you have growing up there?
I would say playing in church league early years when I was a kid. You know, I started out playing basketball outside in my neighborhood, and stuff, and then I just, kept going, fell in love with it and found a passion and kept going since.
And I know your mom and your grandmother are a big influence on you. You talk about you got to play with a little bit of humility to you. But when I see you play, there's a swagger to you as well. There's a little bounce. There's an extra hang on the rim. There's a little head nod when you make a three ball. In your upbringing, where did that type of swagger aspect of your game come from?
Man, just playing outside. I just keep it with me. It's on me, not it's in me. So I guess it come with it. I bring it every day with me, on and off the court. I got a swag about me, so I just try and play with passion out there and have fun.
And one of your influences that you talk about James Harden, which is standard, and another guy that you said you liked, that you were a fan of, which I loved, was Lance Stephenson.
Yeah. I grew up watching a little bit of Lance Stephenson. I like his game, his demeanor. I feel like every time I'm on the court, regardless if I'm getting 20 or not, I try and have a huge impact. And I felt like, that's a little bit of what he does for sure, regardless if he had 20 or 8. You know that he's on the court for sure.
And there's just a physicality to the finishing around the rim that you've definitely picked up and you brought to the 905. But sticking with the Atlanta area, you head off to Martin Luther King High School, and you have an amazing career. Your last season there, you were 24-6. And Malik Beasley is an Atlanta native as well. Did you play any basketball against him growing up in Atlanta?
I didn't. I didn't get the chance to. But who do we play? We played Miller Grove, Alterique Gilbert. We had a couple good players and stuff like that. Bryce Brown from the Nets. Who else? A couple others, I'd say. But we played a good schedule. My last year, we actually didn't have any home games. It was all away games, so we just got it out the mud that year.
And your last year, you head to Daytona Beach for prep school before you head off to Stephan F Austin University. And I spoke with Kyle Keller, your head coach, yesterday. And I just contacted him quickly, and his PR person got back to me right away. Kyle called me and he says, "What do you want to talk about? We love Kevon over here. Let's talk about anything." And I asked him, what's a story from Kevon's time over there that might make him blush, that might make him bashful a little bit? And he said, in your freshman season, you were going through the freshman blahs, going through some struggles. And so he invited you over to stay at his place with his wife and his kids. What do you recall from that visit with his family that kind of maybe helped you, or just a funny story from that night where you slept over at the Keller residence?
That's funny you told you that. But it's dope, man. Keller's very open, to his players, and and I've been there plenty of times, and that's my family too. So it was great being there, and I've been over there plenty of times, and I feel like it's home over there. So it was great. It was cool.
Okay, so I wanted to play a little game. It's called Kevon Harris Trivia. And what that is I say a date during your college career and see if you can remember the game that happened. Okay, the first date I have for you is December 9th, 2017.
December 9th, 2017. That's my freshman. Appreciate it. That's my freshman year. It was in Hawaii, maybe? No? I don't remember. Help me out.
Okay, it was obviously December 9th, right before Christmas. You had a career night in one respect. You scored over 30. It wasn't your career high. It was against Rice.
Okay, I remember Rice game. Yeah, that was a big game. We played them at home. It was hype about that one because it was a Texas game. Obviously, Houston isn't too far from Stephan F Austin. It was a big game. They play a lot of zones, so I burned them a few times for sure.
That's an understatement. You burned them for 8 3-pointers, which was a career high. And the reason I'm bringing up that game, other than the career high aspect, was because Coach Keller mentioned that so many kids, they like to hear their name called for the starting lineup, and you're coming off the bench at that point. Did that game, was that your statement game, say, hey, coach, it's time for me to start?
To be honest, man, I always felt like I should have been starting. That's just that's just me, But I don't worry about that too much. I just go out there and try and help my team, and I know I can help by scoring and on the defensive end and rebounding and everything. So I just, that day I hit a lot of threes, and I just try and do what I can to help us win.
Okay, and so you hit that many threes, and one thing I like to ask shooters that us regular people don't understand is, what does it feel like to be feeling it, to be in that level of a zone?
Hey, man, I don't know. I feel like I get in the zone. You can't really get me out. I feel like, I can guard myself at that point. That's the only person that can guard me is myself. When I get to that point, it's pretty much over. I feel like I touch it, it's going in.
And you've been balling out lately, but I want to stick with college. I want to give you one more date. The date is November 26th, 2019.
Oh, yeah. That's Duke game. We played Duke. That's probably one of my favorite memories there. We went in the Cameron Arena and took one from them and shocked the world. Had a huge game.
Scored 26 points, and I had a story in my mind. I want you to tell me what amount of truth there is to it, okay? This is my scenario that I have drawn up in my head. The 2019 offseason, you declare for the NBA draft to get a feeler for what NBA teams might be thinking of you. You end up coming back to school for your fourth year. So obviously, you didn't get the sense that you were as high as you needed to be in order to make it to the NBA. Coach Keller books the game with Duke. A chip on your shoulder grows where I'm going into a place where there's NBA prospects every single year, and I'm going to show them that I'm NBA ready at this point. How much truth is it to that scenario that I've dreamt up in my head?
Man, absolutely, man. I carry that chip on my shoulder all my life, coming from where I'm coming from. It's not a lot of players going to play in the league. So, I carry that chip on my shoulder everywhere I go and play in, especially going to mid-major. I had a lot of high-major offers also, but I wanted to go mid-major because I always felt like I was the underdog growing up. So I just carried that with me. And every year I try and carry my team to that mindset. And we came that day and we got the dub. We shot the world. So.
Yeah, they were the number one team in the country at that point.
They weren't thinking we was going to come and get that one, but we came and took it.
And you scored 20 points in the first half, and there's one bucket that I wanted to highlight among many, but it was an understated bucket. I wonder if you even remember it. You get posted up against Wendell Moore, maybe 8 feet away from the hoop. You drop step baseline, and then Vernon Carey meets you at the rim, and you just finish over him anyway. Do you remember this play?
I do remember that play. Coach was like, man, they can't hold you. Go out there. He ran a play for me, get on the post, get a good look. And, I just took it in and got the bucket. I was just being aggressive, and I was feeling it. So it was over with by that time.
Yeah, it was. And you guys have an amazing senior season. You go pro. And you find yourself at the 905 for the bubble. And I remember, obviously you had a lesser role with the 905. Coach Keller said you didn't have the greatest bubble experience. But Coach Eric Curry had a press conference. And he just mentioned offhand, he's like, because I asked him, or someone asked him in the media, who do you most look forward to working with when you really have time to work with someone in a developmental role? Because in the COVID era with no vaccines and stuff, there wasn't that much time. And he said, I'm so excited to work with Kevon. I wish I had more time to work with Kevon. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I haven't even seen him really play that much. What kind of relationship did you develop with Coach Curry, and why do you think he saw so much potential in you?
I would say it was great, man. We was all close, regardless of, me being on the court as much. And, yeah, man, I just try to be selfless, and I feel like that took me a long way, and just try and be a good teammate regardless of the circumstances, and learn as much as I can and get better every day, and just learn something while I'm out there.
All right, so you finished out the bubble year. You're sticking with the 905, and you've been with Coach Mutombo for a while now. And I remember my first impression in the first press conference was like, as soon as he spoke, there was a presence about him. There's this there's this depth of voice, and it goes beyond basketball. Lots of, like David Johnson says, I find him more of a life coach than a basketball coach. Does that ring true to you?
Absolutely. You're going to feel his presence for sure, on and off the court. That's just coach, and he's a great dude, and definitely I can see him as a life coach for sure.
So your game is developing, like you're in a central role now. You've started 5 of the 6 games. You just come off 28 points against Delaware. What's the difference between then and now, and why have you found so much success right now?
Just get my chance. Me personally, just get my chance. Confidence. Getting back to I feel like I'm getting back to myself and playing back myself, and my team trusted me and my coach trusted me, and I'm just going out there playing my game, playing aggressive, and just trying to make the best plays on both ends, and just whatever I could do to make my team win. So that's what I'm trying to do.
I want to ask you about one move, and I love finding about the personal side about players, the human side, and the technical stuff. I'll never say I know more than a coach or a player. I want to ask you, there's this move you have in transition that you pulled off in Delaware, and you pulled it off all of your SFA career. It's this dribble, it's this transition play where you do a little Euro step, you finish off the right foot with the right hand. You do it every other, there's a 12-minute highlight pack of you do a crossover. It's very Devin Booker-y. It's this Euro step finish with the right foot. It's unusual to jump off the right foot too.
That's why I catch a lot of people. I like to jump off my right foot. I catch a lot of bodies that way because I dunk more on my left than my right, and I'm right-handed, so a lot of people don't catch that. But it's kind of unique. I don't know. I just in high school I just worked on my left a lot, and and my right leg a lot of stuff like that, and it just became a habit and a little secret I got going. I just try and bring it out when it's needed.
And one more thing, that there's one thing we do have in common, me and you, is that, and Cal Keller told me about it at the very end of our conversation. He said, your daughter just turned 1. We're both fathers.
That's amazing.
And you light up as soon as I say that. Is there any perspective that's changed you since becoming a father, on the basketball court, off the basketball court?
Man, just motivation. I've always been self-motivated, and and just found myself grinding for it all, and my daughter just gave me another purpose, and just to go hard and even put in more work and just chase everything I'm going after for sure since day one, and just she everything to me. So
you could feel that in that answer, and you're chasing that dream right now. You're in a good spot with the 905. You're averaging over 15 points a game, 3-3, coming off a couple tough losses, but homestand's coming up, and so bounce back is coming up. So listen, Kevon, I really appreciate the time, and I wish you the best of luck over the rest of the season.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.